I'm Rosebells 1984. Welcome to my Liquid Story Binder tutorials. This tutorial will cover a lot of ground on the basis of writing and planning your story from the ground up. I personally oriented this tutorial with the idea that there are people who either work with a detailed process that they may use, or people who don't need to plan and just want to jump in and start working. Liquid Story Binder caters to both of these methods, but it's a matter of knowing how to work with the program to what's best for your particular needs. In this multiple-part tutorial, you will learn the following: how to navigate the various modes of the program so that it's most efficient for your planning, how to begin writing your story for those who want to start immediately, how to begin planning your story in the various modes of the program for those who would like to create outlines, dossiers, or those who may need to plan the different aspects of their stories, or even for those who may jump right in but find themselves stuck and want to use a particular tool to keep themselves going. I am a writer who tends to use both methods depending on the project I'm working on, so I'll try to provide a balance for those who may work in either of these modes. A lot of this may be common sense, but it's still important for me to cover because if you are confused and have no idea where to start, this may be helpful to give you an idea of how to work best within the program, and go from there. Let's first begin by assuming that you've already customized your environment in the way you want it and are ready to begin writing. As you can see from the current recording, I'm starting with a brand new binder, completely from scratch. You may see the screen flicker a few times because I'm doing certain things off screen that you may not see, but it's still the same methodology for the steps that I show you and for the different aspects this tutorial will cover. Let's begin this project by creating a planner, as I've outlined in the previous tutorials. Usually, regardless of whether you choose to begin writing your story or you begin to plan your story, I usually recommend that all users begin with a planner. And even when you read the help manual for the Liquid Story Binder program, it recommends that you start with a planner because that's basically the center point of everything that has to do with this program. Otherwise, it can be very easy to get lost. Alright, so I have my table of contents planner situated. Let's go ahead and create an item for chapter 1. Alright, so I've entered in my information for chapter 1. I've given a sample description, which any mini description that you do within a planner, you can simply edit from the second text box where it's labeled description down at the bottom right here. And for my chapter synopsis, which is this text area over here, you can simply click at it and edit it as you would like. For those of you who just want to go ahead and start writing, you can go ahead and make sure that your mode is within chapter mode within the planner feature. You can double click on it, say yes, and begin typing your story. And as you can see, I've already prepared my first chapter here. Let's save it. And then you can move through and create new chapters as you would like. The systematic process of creating chapters within Liquid Story Binder with respect to using your planner to create different items and create your particular chapters within the program is very easy to do. As you can see from here, I've already created my chapter 2 as well for my particular story. And basically, moving through the chapter mode of the program is like a standard text editor. You can format each of your text, your paragraphs, as you would in a regular text editing program. But for the purposes of this tutorial, we won't get into that much. This is just an orientation to show you that you can systematically create chapters within your table of contents if you want to just go up and write your story in a logical flow from chapter 1 to chapter 2 and so forth. If you don't want to go ahead and start typing your story ahead of time and you want to create a general outline with respect to the chapters that you have created already in your table of contents, and let me clarify this, when you create a particular file title where you title it chapter 1, you can switch between different modes of the program. You don't necessarily have to start with chapter mode for the particular items that you list in your planner. You can start with outline mode. Let's see, for example, it would be this icon right here, outline mode. And as you can see, no previous files have been created with respect to these two items. So let's go ahead and create an outline for our chapter 1. And as you can see, once you create it, the file becomes active in this particular mode. And you can go ahead and start using the outline mode of the program to start planning your particular work scene by scene, or however you wish to design it. So as you can see from the current screen, I've added in particular items for what I want to plan out my chapter 1 to be. And it's just as simple to transition back to your table of contents, switch between the mode that you want to use. If I have already created an outline and I want to start pinning my chapter, I can go to chapter mode and then start typing from there. Now, if you're the type of writer who plans your or writes your works scene by scene, it's very easy to do that by creating a builder. Let's go ahead and do that now. Go into the builder mode of the program. Now, as you can see, it's not yet created for chapter 1, so let's go ahead and create it. And basically, you can use this to build your scenes, like so. You can type in scene 1, save it, scene 2, save it, and scene 3, and save it. I can go back to my outline. Let's go back to the mode. And I can simply copy and paste some of these as the descriptions if I wanted to do it as a guide, if I didn't want to go back to the outline back and forth. Copy like so, say OK. And I can go back to my scene 1 and paste it very simply. And I can do the same thing here. You don't have to do it this way, but I usually systematically, when I'm working between files, I usually do this. There may be people who are far more efficient than me. Alright, so we have our scenes and scene descriptions. Alright, for the last part of this tutorial, I'm going to show you something very interesting. If you have penned your entire chapter using the builder feature of the program, and you have your scenes, your descriptions and everything already ready to go, you can choose to build a chapter using the selected items that you have. You can have it as your chapter title. You can build with the particular titles that you have for each scene or each item within your builder. You can build it with the document descriptions, which are just basically the descriptions that I've copied and pasted from my outline earlier. And you can reverse the item build order, which is basically building from the last scene that you've listed in your item window of the builder to the first scene. And you can change the chapter title font as you want. You don't have to have it this big. Let's keep it at Times New Roman. Let's keep it bold and perhaps underlined. Let's put it at about size 14, and I think that would be good. Select font, and it's already formatted for you, and you can choose to build the chapter document. Now, since I have already a chapter 1 in existence, it will Liquid Story Binder will tell me that the chapter already exists. So let's say no for a second, and I want to show you that I already have a chapter 1 in existence. Now, and you can see it's very different from the version that I have in the builder, with the scene descriptions and the titles and such. Now, if for some reason, let's close this off for right now, I build my chapter, build it with the selected items, build it with the specific title, fonts, and whatnot. I can build a chapter document, overwrite it, and when I do, as you can see, I have my scene, my description, and the particular text that I've entered within each scene. And since I only had scene 1 selected in that particular building, it only built scene 1. Now, when I go to the file menu and choose backups, you will see in the tab that says original chapter content for the particular day that I'm working with, it has my original chapter information already stored here, and it also has the new information in this particular instance of the chapter that I've built. So you don't have to necessarily worry about overwriting information. You can always revert back to a particular version of your document just by clicking Restore Document, or you can combine or consolidate all of the backups that you've had within the particular document just by going to the backup menu. It's a very useful tool. Let's go ahead and restore document. Name it Chapter 1 Announcement. And yes, we want to override it. And my work is recovered. Very simple to do. So let's review what I've covered so far in this tutorial. If you want to immediately get started with writing your work, always begin with a planner. Then, once you do that, create items and or chapter titles within your planner to help you get started. There are two ways you can start writing your story. You can either directly write in chapter mode, or you can use a builder to write your scenes and then build your chapters afterward. If you have previously created a chapter and you accidentally build over your creation using the builder feature, you can reverse changes using the backups feature of the program. If you wish to plan your work before you start writing, just choose the mode you wish to work with that particular item or chapter and start planning. I showed you an example by using the outline feature within this tutorial. That's it for this video. Next time I'll be continuing the writing and planning using Liquid Story Binder XE tutorial, where I'll branch off into talking about how you can use the different modes of the program to build other elements besides your chapters. Thanks for watching.